When you put in commercial lease together, 5 most important terms. It's going to be obviously, I'll tell you some basic things in the lease. Number one, you got to define the space very clearly. And what I mean is first floor, not including the walkway in the back that is shared between second floor and first floor, something like this. And you do cross hatching. That means you do the as built, it shows the drawing, and you cross hatch. That means you do like this is the space, okay? Number one. Number two, on that same vein, the defining of the space, you don't say it's 2241 square feet. We say it's approximately 2200 square feet. Because if you get 2 architects, and I learned this the hard way, if you get 2 architects, one is going to say 2241 and the other one is going to say 2220. And you don't want to be charging them based on 2241. They bring somebody who says 2220 and it's 10 years later and you owe us 20 square feet difference times 12 months times 10 years. You owe us back, $15,000 that we paid based on square foot. So it's approximately. If the tenant says, I want to know specifically what the square footage is, you say, tenant to measure before signing lease. And I'm renting approximately. I tell them approximately. I don't care. I'm renting the location. So defining the space, defining the possession date versus commencement of rent date. For example, I'm signing a lease and I said, the possession date is going to be the day you sign the lease, because they said we have somebody to pick up the key. That's possession date. You're going to sign the 15th, you're going to get the key on the 15th, provided you give me that cashier check or you're wanting the money. But commencement of rent is going to be 90 days later. They said, oh, but the construction may take us 4 months. Commencement of rent is 90 days later. So they wrote the LOI back and they said, rent shall commence at the conclusion of the construction. And I replied back, no later than 90 days after signing the lease. A lease to be signed on no later than March 15th. You see how it is? You want to define this possession and commencement of lease. Number 3, corporate guarantee or personal guarantee. Very important. What is this guaranteed by? The person tells you, look, I don't sign because I am from another country, and but I have a local person, they're going to sign on our behalf. Something is shady here. Okay, something is not right. All right. So I need a corporate guarantee or a personal guarantee. And okay, then we need the actual terms in terms of how much, how long. So it's going to be, let's say, 5 years. And it's going to be $5,000 to begin with, let's say, 2% escalation. It's very clear. All right. So these are the terms. You pay late. These are, and then number 5 will be the definitions of default, like the event of default, because you have 2 types of defaults. One type is monetary default. They didn't pay or whatever. The other type of default is they're not complying. Hey, you cannot put a neon sign for your business outside. There are some rules to the city here. They don't want that because this is downtown, and downtown don't want neon. Or, you cannot be breaking the wall here and putting a glass so you can display with lights, because they said you cannot change the facade of the building because it has to belong to the historic district of Dallas, in that zip code or whatever. So you want to make sure the events of default are spelled out and what you're going to do. I remember I put in one of my leases that in the event of default where they don't pay, and then we give them a notice and give them 5 days to cure. If they don't, then I have the right to, not only if they don't respond, but if they also abandon the space, as in not open or not respond for 30 days, I have the right to go in and take the merchandise, to liquidate it and make myself whole and give them the rest. Well, it was a husband and wife. She caught him cheating. He got mad at her, kicked her out of the store. She came back with some people. They shut the store, etc. Long story. I didn't get paid for 30 days. So I called the husband and I said, look, I left him a voicemail because nobody was calling me back. I said, read your lease. I'm going to break in because I have that right. It's in the lease. And I'm going to take the jewelry to make up for the losses. And the rest will be held in this address with the witnesses. And we're going to film the whole thing. And it's going to start tomorrow. Guess what? He came in with a cashier check, paid me, took his stuff. I was happy. And I took a space with the cabinets and everything. And everybody parted ways. I don't know what happened to them, but that's that the event of default and the terms for that were important. So define the space, possession date versus commencement of rent space, corporate guarantee or personal guarantee, terms, how much, how long, escalation, and how do we handle the default. Those are basically the things that you have disputes on. And if you do have a dispute, in the lease itself is going to say what district and what to do, mediation, arbitration, etc. And now we add one more thing, if I may throw it in there, in event of bankruptcy. Event of bankruptcy, you're going to leave. There is no like judge is going to give you, we agree in advance. And we had an expert bankruptcy attorney write it. And that goes by district. But if you have a property in Florida, they're going to have an expert attorney that does lease, that does stuff for bankruptcy to tell you how to write it in a way that the court will work with you. So you're not holding a space with a guy that filed bankruptcy. Cool.